Welcome to Future Focus. Today, we're talking about open banking and how getting access to your financial data and being able to securely share it has the potential to have a big impact on the way you manage your money. To help us demystify this sometimes complex topic, I'm thrilled to be speaking with Dinaro Ly, Assistant Vice President of Innovation Partnerships at Interac. Dinaro has extensive experience in this payment space and has been involved in the implementation of open banking in Canada. Dinaro, thanks for joining me today.
My pleasure.
So let's start with a simple question. How would I know if I'm using open banking today, right now?
You're using open banking today if you're directly transferring your bank account from one financial institution to the next, without having to re-identify yourself, send any paperwork, or any additional verification required to actually open an account with a new financial institution.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of filling out forms at the best of times, so I'm pretty excited about just what you've said, just that. But what excites you the most about open banking?
One of the most important things about open banking is really enabling the consumer and the small business to have ownership and consent of their own data. But not only that, be able to access new important information in a way that is useful to their business and to service their customers and their clients. So one example of one use case for a small business could be that, hey, my credit score is not the greatest, but the reality is they pay their bills and they pay their vendors on time. And so there's an opportunity for them to use some of that information to help them get better rates and access to capital or lending products and services from other financial institutions. And as a result of those data exchange agreements, they can now be able to fund their operation or be able to service their customers better because they're well funded.
That's an excellent example. If you think about how small businesses today are used to managing their data, oftentimes it's in software or in a spreadsheet and they have it. But when you're talking about transferring data between institutions, that maybe asks some different questions from a security point of view. So in your experience, what are some of the provisions and precautions that need to get put in place to make that as secure as possible?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think privacy is really top of mind for a lot of folks these days, both consumers and small businesses. And the reality is we have technology called application program interfaces, or APIs, that allow secure direct connections from one organization to the next. And then what that essentially does is it eliminates any potential possibility for breach when the data is flowing from one entity to the next. And so I think when you think about open banking, it has to be rooted in a framework that is resilient, secure, and private.
We've seen that the UK's reached an impressive 7 million active open banking users. What do you think other countries can learn from their success?
I think one of the big opportunities for other regions to really learn from that adoption curve, especially in Canada, really is around education. Education on the benefits of open banking rather than the terminology that the industry typically uses. And consumers and small businesses are too busy in their everyday lives to figure out all the nicks and nags and the tech terminology. They need to understand what's in it for me. And once they understand what's in it for me, then I think that helps increase the adoption curve.
Could you maybe give us 3 things that you think small businesses or advisors could do over the next 12 months to get the most out of open banking?
Number one certainly is, if you're not doing it today as a business, think about modernizing and digitizing your accounting function. So that's the first. And the second thing is really thinking about, hey, in my current business, can I better serve my customer, have a better view of my customer if I was able to access other data sources and gain access to information that other providers of data could give me? And the third is really thinking about the future of your services. Because in a world where data flows securely between one organization and the next, it allows you to think about not only servicing your customers well now with your current products and services, but think about increasing the breadth and the depth of the services you provide today.
Thank you, Dinaro, for your insights in this space. It was really great speaking with you today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.